Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and I'm here with Cody Deal. And a lot of you probably recognize Cody Deal from the greatest of all the Thor movies, the Almighty Thor. No, there's a reason why I say it's the greatest, because this is the Thor movie where you don't get all emo and start crying and talking about your feelings. So it's the only real Thor movie. And I'm also saying it because you're the only Thor I know.
Okay, fair.
And I become friends with Cody about 4 years ago. He's an avid disc golfer. He's actually really good. I mean, you were like solid MA1 player, but only a couple years into the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not a celebrity who plays disc golf once in a while. You're a player.
Yep. I play league almost every night.
Okay.
I love it that much.
Yeah, so he's a golfer, and I was going to do this great interview about your journey to your disc golf career, and but we got to talking because Cody also does a lot of work with self-improvement, mental and physical self-improvement for people, oftentimes for men, and it happens to be Men's Mental Health Month, and it just seemed like when we started talking after about 45 minutes, we hadn't talked about golf once. And I'm like, well, why are we going to force a conversation that we wouldn't have if we were just talking?
100%.
So I think we may wind up talking more about that than disc golf. Are you cool with that?
I'm totally cool with that.
So I wanted to ask, so first off, you said, well, from the beginning, you were just this average dude.
100%.
So explain what that means.
People look at me and there's a stereotype, right? The way I built myself, the way I've accomplished some things. But I come from the poorest county in the state of Kansas, a town of 1,000 people if you count the cats and the dogs. I mean, like just a limited environment. And I grew up with my mom, and she was an amazing person, the best mom on the planet, I guarantee it. And I lost her at 2020, and that's actually when I found disc golf. I was going through a lot, and it was that one thing that I could just obsess about to keep my mind clear. But because I grew up with my mom, and she was kind of had a little bit of a rotation with husbands coming in and out. God bless her, but that left kind of a hole in my heart, and some very large self-worth issues. And so I was just a very average kid. I was fat, I was overweight. And then somehow, just through thinking differently, reevaluating my lot in life, I became the valedictorian, first team all-state athlete, all those things that you thought were impossible at one time.
Yeah, I'm cutting you off
Yeah.
there. Okay, you went from being the fat kid in a small town to athlete valedictorian.
Yeah.
Okay, something must have happened between A and B.
Yeah.
I don't want to gloss over. Tell me, why are you not that adult?
Well, I think these things happen in many chapters of our life, whether if you're 50 plus or a 12-year-old kid. It doesn't change. We're identifying with different things in us. And I feel like that how we think and how we show up in the world is a program that we've built internally. And we can always hijack that program. And so at 12 years old, I was playing basketball, and that was my most favorite sport I enjoyed playing. And the girls, back then you practiced like shirts and skins, and the starters always had the skins. And dude, I was humiliated always taking off my shirt. And because the sixth grade girls would always show up early, they would see me just run up and down the court. And dude, like literally I couldn't handle it. It was torture. And one day I just walked out of practice and I quit. I quit like the number one thing I absolutely love because I'm so ashamed of myself. And like this happens in life, in different chapters. We're always reinventing ourselves, because if we're not, we're degrading. I don't think you stay the same. I think you're either elevating or you're degrading. And at that time, I got out of the basketball court, and I just leaned against the wall, and I just started crying, man. And I was like, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be this kid who's so average. And I saw the valedictorian that year give like the valedictory speech in this small town of 1,000, packed gymnasium. It was like winning the Oscars, bro. I was like, that's the biggest stage I've ever seen. I want to be that guy.
That's actually really cool.
And back in the 90s or whatever, WWE, WCW wrestling, WWF wrestling was like the thing. We were the kids who just had like 10, 12 friends over, bought the pay-per-view, and I wanted to look like a WWE superstar.
Which one? Was there one in particular?
We had, well, the funny thing is, back in many years ago when I did that movie for the sci-fi movie Almighty Thor. Kevin Nash was my father, and he was huge in the WCW. He was one of my favorites, and we actually got to play. He got to play my father Odin, and so like it's weird how these things happen. This guy I grew up admiring, I was a lead character, and it's just like, how did that happen?
I still want to go back to where you decided you were going to be better than this, but then you became better. Like what else happened between? It wasn't just a matter of deciding, was it?
The beautiful thing about my mom is she was really kooky. She was really kooky, and she was really big into spirituality. And she'd always hand me these books and have me read things and tell me things. And there was always a filter of like disbelief. But there was something bigger that she kind of convinced me of. And you can take this as a grain of salt. But she said, if you can taste it, touch it, smell it, breathe it, make it so real in your mind, you can manifest in your reality. And when you come from such a limited environment, you have to have something that's bigger than environment. You have to have a belief. You have to have something that you can attach to that aligns you to that vision, and it modifies your behavior. And you do start acting like it. So every day I would think about how I would be on that center stage giving that valedictory speech. Every day I think about what it looked like to look like I do today. And something happened. There was a transmutation. And neuroscience actually proves this, that the way you think and process things, new neurons fire and wire together. You're actually building new neurological pathways, superhighways of neural networks that just like this, because you're such a good disc golfer, you have these huge superhighways of neural networks inside your brain. Like you can throw this shot accurately, perfectly, almost every time, and it's effortless. How did you do that? Because you practice a specialty. And that's one thing that I've always convinced anyone that I've ever worked with, that like, it's not, no one's special. Talent isn't innate. It's about building a specialty. And so I obsessed over that vision. It was a lot of convincing in the beginning. I didn't believe it, but it felt good to think about. And the older we get, Scott, the more like it's harder to think that naive. My ego, this small little thing that analyzes all my surroundings, thinks about all the problems that can go wrong and will go wrong, and 99.9% of them are BS. Like, that's what my imagination wants to do. It wants to focus on my fears and my phobias instead of focusing on my vision. And I think there's power in that. Corny, but true.
Well, first off, the neuroplasticity of the brain is a fact. I grew up, the conventional wisdom is that brains form and they don't generate new brain cells, and like that, that's your brain for life.
Thought.
Yeah, that's totally not true. Now, our brains can be physically rewired to some degree. But you talked about a coach that you had. That's kind of what I was leaning into. You mentioned a coach that saw something. And
so because of my mom, I was very emotionally coddled, and thank God, because I was an emotional little boy. And I needed that mother's protective love. The world was scary. But because I didn't have a consistent father figure, I didn't have this presence that could make me realize that my emotions weren't the most important thing, because it was weakness. Like, honestly, F my emotions, F your emotions. Like, if you're feeling like a victim, if you're feeling weak, if you feel like you can't do it, that's a narrative that you've built, that you've hardwired into your programming. And so when I got into high school, there was this coach. His name was Coach Davis. This dude coached for 47 years before I even got to him. I mean, old school, crack whip. I mean, this guy was tortured me every day. He would literally yell at me every single day. I hated it. And I never understood why he yelled at me more than anybody else. And finally, I went up to my assistant coach and I said, dude, why is this guy yelling at me every single day? And he goes, Cody, the reason he yells at you is because he sees something in you. And as a young kid, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. If you see something in me, wouldn't you like build me up, like talk good to me? And I'm like, he yells at me more than anybody else. That's because he believes in you more than anybody else. He sees something in you. And as a young man with like super bad self-esteem, self-worth issues, I needed a strong man that was a legend in Kansas football and basketball to go, do you see something in me? Like, that was the crack in my code and my matrix that went like, holy shit, maybe there is something in there. And so the reason I'm so excited about mindset is because I know what can happen when someone has that crack, that unlock, that thing that like I can see shit in people. And that's the thing is like talent is not innate. It's cultivated, it's crafted. Anyone can reach that. I think it's through an obsessive endeavor. Kind of like you were talking about when we were talking how did you get so good at this guy?
Yeah, I said I was very shallow and I was awkward around girls until I was 25, which basically means I was obsessed and I did not have the ability to be distracted, even though I really wanted to be distracted.
Bingo.
By the way, I was laughing when you were talking about the coach because I used to wrestle with this idea because, yeah, the whole idea of how men raise boys and how male coaches coach male boys, like that's changed over the years. Now, I'm not going to debate for better or for worse, but it's definitely different. So I had a coach in Little League who I had this horrific memory. When I was like 9 years old, I was playing third base. I got a brand new glove and the ball went underneath my legs. And we got in a game. We get back into the dugout and my coach starts screaming at me. He's like, "What, you afraid of getting your new glove dirty?" And he takes the glove and it slams it on the ground and he starts stomping it dirty. He goes, "How do you feel now? Your glove's dirty." And I'm like, and I started crying, right? And I'm like, that is the most horrifically horrible man I've ever had in my life. And a ball never went between my legs again.
Bingo.
And I'm like, you gotta wrestle with this. Like that's no, but it's awful. You don't yell at a 9-year-old kid. It's like, but at the same time, if he had coddled me and said, "Oh, well, are you sad about the ball going between your legs? You want to talk about it?" Like, I'm sorry, that is not going to prevent the ball from going between my legs.
It's sad that we do live in a culture and a time that kind of doesn't promote that style of coaching anymore.
There may be some middle ground.
And sure, but it's graduating, and we did our like athletics banquet, and we all got like these rewards: the MVP of the basketball team, the football team, highest score. I kept going up and up and up and up. I became an overachiever because I had these, self-worth issues, but I also wanted Coach Davis to believe in me. I had someone that believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I talked to the coordinator of the athletic banquet. I'm like, "Hey, can I just say something about Coach Davis, at this banquet?" She goes, "Sure, just whenever you're ready, I'll just call you up." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I went up there and I wrote this small paragraph about Coach Davis. And I was like, "Well, I didn't really have a father figure growing up, and he helped bridge that gap for me. And I just want to let everyone know that it's crazy what one single man can do for a young boy." But here's the problem: is like I couldn't get it out. I was hyperventilating, I was choking, and then I started crying because I was so embarrassed. It was really hard, and I wouldn't look up, and it came out so pathetic. It was terrible. And people started clapping. I'm like, "Oh gosh, oh God, I don't want to look up." But I looked up finally, Scott, and like literally everyone's standing and I'm looking in these eyeballs and they're crying. Like so many people are crying. And even to this day, Scott, like this selfless act of just wanting to say, "Dude, this guy changed my life. Thank you," became my greatest moment in my life. I didn't expect to get anything from that. And there's something that's a big paradox in that way. It was literally the best moment of my life. To this day, being almost 40.
Okay, so first off, it ain't crazy. Since it is Men's Mental Health Month, I'm going to talk to the men. I talk a lot to men, not because I'm not saying men are better than women or vice versa. Just I don't know how to tell the woman's story. I've not lived that experience, so I can speak to men. Men require purpose, validation, appreciation, and so doing for others is a masculine quality.
You're right.
And that's because we get something out of it. Our society wouldn't exist. Men would not have built this society where, I say that, men work tirelessly, often thanklessly, often died in the process of building a society for the sole purpose of having a place where our women and children would be safe. Now, there's been about 1 million failures along the way, but the trajectory of the human race has been this, and that's been on the backs of men who have this thing inside of us that wants to do that. So you getting something out of helping others, I think that's normal. I think it's abnormal if you don't feel that way.
1,000,000,000%.
My opinion.
1,000,000,000%. I love that.
By the way, should we throw in the obligatory? I know that women also like helping people. Also, like I said, this is men's mental health month. So
And that's the thing is that's why like I'm really glad that we connected this month because there's so many people who are battling things, inner demons, and it's not just a couple people; it's a large percent.
Mm-hmm.
And so mental health challenges are running rampant.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing is, I think when I deal with mental health battles, and I've dealt with them my whole life, is when I feel like that weak kid again. There's something that's very potent about learning how to have your feminine side, but also have a strong masculine frame. And I don't mean being like, hey, look at me, I'm strong, I got no emotion.
Masculine doesn't mean macho. Those are two different words.
I think what it does is it allows us to put something around our emotions and calms us and makes us feel strong and powerful again. And that life is always going the way it's supposed to by design. And there's no room to play victim. There's no room to build a narrative.
No.
So it almost kills your weakness. So I almost just say a synonymous word to masculine frame is just destroying your weakness, where you do feel like you show up in the world competently and calm. You have this inner calmness to you, and that you can almost walk through anything with a smile. Mm-hmm. Like you have this resiliency that is innate. And it's when I kind of fall back into that feminine chaos of like, it's all about my emotions and how I feel and overthinking and all this stuff. And I think anxiety is literally just not having the balls to act. It's literally thinking obsessively over things and not taking any action. It's ruminating about shit that you don't think you can get through, but you don't have the balls to take the action. And I think that's why so many of us are anxious. We're stuck in that kind of feminine chaos rather than having that strong authority in ourselves to just act boldly.
So I think I got this theory about masculinity. So first off, I hate the term toxic masculinity because everything I've ever heard categorized as toxic masculinity is also toxic in women as well. It's not toxic masculinity, it's toxic human behavior.
Yes, exactly.
So when a man acts shitty, well, it's not because he's masculine, it's because he's being a shitty person. It's just shitty doesn't care about gender, right? Mm-hmm. So toxic doesn't care about gender. To me, masculinity is not even about the roles, because protect, provide, all the traditional things, whether you agree or not, that's not masculinity. To me, masculinity is two things that are the most strong masculine qualities. Number one, it's the ability to fend off the world around you and not let the world harm you. And nobody's perfect at this. But I think the idea is like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not going to get in my way. You're not going to stop me. You're I'm not letting the world harm me, putting that wall around me. Second part is the ability to change the world around you. The ability to do things. And that could be anything from your career to simply being able to fix things to working out and getting stronger. Like, this is I'm changing the world. I'm not letting the world come to me. And those are the two qualities I find to be the most masculine. I've never met a man that's perfect at both of those things. But what I view when I look at men I look up to, they've gotten very good at those two things. And I try to be good at those two things.
Yeah, don't we both?
Yeah.
But I love that. I think those are beautiful summations of what like masculinity is and why it is potent. Why
there's nothing toxic about any of that.
And just there's a lot of false bravado out there and what we think is machoism and masculinity, and it's just a facade. It's weak, insecure men trying to hold frame. That's just false bravado.
It is.
Like, masculinity is synonymous to the strong protecting everyone. Mm-hmm. It's your strength is there to serve a purpose beyond just yourself. And I think that's what masculinity is.
Hey, I'll give you a good example. My favorite example in the entire world of how masculinity is not macho. I think maybe the most masculine person that we grew up with was Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, yeah.
What did Mr. Rogers do? He built a frame that he could try to protect every child in America with, and then he proactively did something for the children. That's the most he's the most masculine man out there. He did it. He was soft spoken, spoken, and he was gentle, and he was kind. He wasn't feminine. He was a man, not macho.
Yeah, but there's also nothing wrong with having that fire, having that boldness, having that, like, I needed the Coach Davis. Like, you know, when I train people, like, I'm there to not, Scott, just one more, buddies, one more curl. No, I have to get over their weakness because they're going to hate me in the moment. Like when I work with trainers myself, I hate them because they're pushing me beyond what I actually want to do. Like I want to hurt them, you know, but.
Well, let me pause here. I'm going to push back on a bit on that. Well, I'm not going to push back on that. But do you also agree that different people respond to different things?
A billion%. There's no one cookie cutter method, right?
Because I know there's people that if you yell at them, they're going to be like, "Well, I quit."
Well, yes, absolutely. Everyone has a growth process, but I'll tell you this. You know, we all could use both: a firm masculine hand and a feminine hand as well, a soft touch.
I'm going to use their phrase 100%. It's not that one is better than the other. They both need to exist, but it's just that they ain't the same.
Yep.
We need. For sure we need both. I mean, I think you know, it's nice to have a mom and a dad.
Yes,
in a perfect world, we have both.
right,
for sure.
Right. And one thing is like when I was growing up, and I'm sure you heard this phrase too, is so many of us have such self-esteem issues that words hurt us. Opinions hurt us. And I had this phrase growing up that was sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And like when kids would like talk crap, I would just say that to them. And then I just keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. It was almost like a force field. Like I literally believed it. Now today, someone could say one negative comment on a video or a post, and we feel like crap. And that's what I mean. It's like that's the weakness inside us, that we allow words and people who don't even know us affect us.
According to my definition, that's one of the two parts of masculinity, which is not allowing the world to hurt you.
Bingo. You know that the only approval you need is your own, and you better have high standards within yourself.
Well, this is why it's fun to like. We're not just going to pat each other on the back and agree with everything.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe. I personally can't exist in a world where my only validation comes from myself. I actually admire people that only need validation from themselves. As long as they knew they did a good job and they feel proud of themselves and that's enough for them, I respect those people. I have never gotten anywhere close to that. Getting validation matters dearly to me. And I'll even go so far as to say that I need it. What I've learned is it's getting validation from the people I respect,
Of course.
as opposed to people I don't. This is the perfect example of, look, some person I've never met on the internet can't hurt my feelings. It's impossible. Someone I respect has a problem with my behavior or something I did, it would deeply hurt my feelings. And I don't think that's a lack of masculinity. I've given those people the power to hurt me because I respect them. But yeah, all internal, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a lofty goal.
Well, yeah. Okay. So look at it this way. So, you know, we can talk about lofty figures and not be able to relate to them, but I'm going to do it anyway. But like, look at Jesus. This dude he was all about accepting everyone from the lowest caste. And he actually kind of rejected those in power because they didn't set life up for the common man. The world is going to misrepresent you all the time. They're going to try to tell you who you are, tell you what's possible, and they're going to build their own. Like when people watch this, let's say 1,000 people watch this, you, Scott, are going to have 1,000 different reputations. 1,000 people are going to think differently of you from the same words and phrases that you used. You have no control or power over that. but you have control of your character. And that's what I mean, is that you don't need approval for your character because you know who you are. So even if the world rejects you like they did Jesus, you still know who you are. You still can operate in the world without needing approval. And I think that's very powerful. That's my point.
I will process that thought, and I'll text you and tell you if you're wrong next week. I get what you're saying, and I think that we're on the same page in the sense that I feel
100%.
that is a lofty goal,
Of course.
while recognizing my inability to be anywhere near that.
Listen, yeah, I wish I had pure sovereignty too, where like nothing touched me and I remained pure, like you couldn't hurt me. It's not true. Like I said, I am just as human as anybody else. I struggle with nearly all the same battles as anybody else. But that's my point. Is like there's always like so many people don't have drive and purpose, and I think like the perfect drive and purpose is cultivating yourself, that inner realm where you show up where you're not as scared of the world anymore, man.
Mm.
Like we can't be afraid, because if you're chaotic inside, your actions and behaviors are going to produce that out here. You're going to show up and kind of create chaos wherever you go. But if you have an inner tranquility or calmness or whatever you want to call it, you tend to show up a bit more chill, a bit more exceptional. I think that one thing that we lack today is mission, purpose, drive, willpower. Like, why are we here? What's our purpose? And I think when you have an inner purpose, like that's a never ending journey. You know what I mean? If you can cultivate your inner attitude, this is all about mental health. This is exactly what we're trying to help people identify, like what they can do on an attitude adjustment or an inner adjustment to feel good again, to feel at baseline again, to feel like light again, easy again. So that way when things show up, we can just laugh them off. Because at the end of the day, you know, if your mother dies, you go through hell, you go through torture, you go through pain, you go through suffering. Those people who know how to get through that with a bit of lightness, I think are the ones who always end up better than when they were before the tragedy happened.
Okay, so I want to ask more specifically about how one achieves that. So to Cody's credit, he has an online course called Mind Jack, which you told me, you said you don't need to bring that up. I just want to talk to people and help them. So I'm going to plug something, even though you told me it was not important.
It's the mental game, just the full operating system of your mind.
Full operating system.
Hijack that, mind jack that, but also get jacked in the process.
Yes. So right. So let's. I want to only not to try to pitch. I will put a link in my whatever in the description. I'm happy to promote you. Took the time to talk to my audience, but just using that as a platform, even if we don't talk about it again, you've developed a process for doing things that we still can reference because you believe in that process. So the first part is you talked about transforming your body, and we'll probably be preaching to the choir why I find that also important for probably the same reasons you do, but that is easier said than done. So it's easy to say, oh, step one, get off your ass and start working hard. Well, if that's what it took, I think everybody would do that. So what do you do between I don't have the motivation to do these things? You know, you can tell me till I'm blue in the face that these are important and you're gonna be a more viable option in the sexual marketplace, and you're gonna live longer, and you're gonna be healthier, and you're not gonna get tired running upstairs, and all these things. You can tell me all those things, and my answer will be, yeah, no shit, I know that. That didn't get me off the couch before. So what does somebody do to change this first, to do those first hard things?
Well, two things. One is programming. I'm going to tell you about that. But two is I want to shift the barrier entry for people to try. I feel like people like you feel like it's almost an insurmountable hill. So we just don't really make any shift, any change. I work on like moving the dial slowly. And the whole model of body ops 1.0 is to show you how freaking sloppy you can be and actually start moving the dial completely.
Mm.
Like I tell people they can eat whatever they want. You don't believe that, but it's true. You can have abs and be in great shape and literally eat whatever you want. But we're told, hey, you got to do the salads and this and that. So you really literally just make it possible for people through strategy and science on like just do the bare minimum. do the bare minimum. Like, show people that they can start by doing like the basic process, like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, eat this, do that, but modify it just gradually. That gives people like, you have to, just like in disc golf, man, like, how can I throw 400 feet? And they pick up the distance driver, dude, learn how to throw a putter smooth and you can throw 400 feet. Like, it's the same mechanics.
Okay.
It's the same mechanics. So you have to show people that to get like the top one. So it's 3 phases. You go from just losing 10, 20 pounds and being the best shape of your life. That's like, and you can do that literally being so terrible at everything and still look great.
Just by doing a little bit.
You have to have like tactical reasons as to do it. There's a right way, but you want to make it freaking easy and accessible to people. Like, who cares if you aren't eating healthy? At least you drop some weight. You can always get healthy later. Like, get people some momentum going. So you want to show people that trying anything new, it's a sunking process. You're going to look terrible. It's going to be dog shit. It's going to be horrendous. And then as people get that foundation, they like, dude, I lost this in like 2 months, 3 months. Then if they're like, hey, I want a top 10% physique. Great. We have Body Ops 2.0. I want top 1 elite apex freaking predator, bro. That's Body Ops 3.0. So you can't just go from throwing 500 feet to not knowing how to throw in a disc. You know, it's the same process. So you got to show people that's actually achievable through minimal effort, because people can do the minimum. And that's all you want them to do is show up every day.
Just to start.
Just to start. It's great to look great. But if you don't feel great, what's the purpose? You know, we want people to feel great about themselves again. We want people to want to strive towards better missions and opportunities, because when they grow, everyone around them grows. So that's why we have Mind Jack. It's not just getting jacked. It's also hijacking the programming. See, like, we live in a culture where like there's scientists and economists out there who are like programming us through advertisements everywhere to eat bad and eat whatever and be fat and lazy and lethargic, but buy that thing, you'll feel better. Like, it's stacked against us.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically break that illusion to show people like you're competing with so much against you to be average and sloppy and lazy. But deep down, do you feel good? Probably not. And this is what it reverts back to like sports. I love sports because, or in fitness, is sometimes doing the hard thing is the way you feel the best. So if that's striving towards a goal and you want to become a world champion, or you want to be the best disc golfer on the planet, one, it's not innate. It's building a specialty and obsessing over it. And just like you, when you were 25 and you didn't date, you locked in.
No, I dated at 25. It was when it was up till 24. And by 25, I was slaying it.
Scott, I was visiting a friend in Colorado Springs last week, and I went to an AA meeting for the first time ever. And, you know, so many people battle with substances. And I heard these stories, and they were very touching. But what I realized is, like, you know, alcohol, you know, people obsess, like, they think about it all the time, right? And that's what we do with our fears, is somehow our fears have hijacked our operating system. We have a default mode network, by the way. I don't know if you know that. It's a DMN, 60 to 80,000 thoughts you think on a repeat basis every single day, and 90% of those suckers are the same. So we are programmed to think and feel in this matrix that's called a DMN. And so when you have something that you're obsessed over, like, is there a way to transmute your obsession to like a vision that's bigger than yourself? And that's what my Mind Jack Ultra Ego program does.
If you watched my tutorial videos a couple months ago, right? I've never been really obese or anything like that, but if you watched a couple months ago, you noticed that I had a little bit of a gut. You probably, if you were paying attention, you noticed that. And I'll brag for 2 seconds. I don't have a gut. Okay. Now that's in the last several months. And I'll tell you, the one thing I did, and I'm not going to give diet advice, has nothing to do with that, is that at the end of last year, after 3 years of being on the pro tour and working my ass off in the gym, dieting, all that stuff, I was cross-training because I'm trying to, like, you know, trying to win. Don't laugh. I was trying to win on the pro tour. And then I didn't get my tour card. I was sick part of the year. So come last fall, I'm not going to have my tour card for next year. And I took off to go to Asia. Now, I would like to be healthy because I want to feel good. I want to look better. I want to live longer. I want to be healthier. I want my partner to be more attracted to me. You name it. There's all these wonderful reasons. And not one of them meant a damn thing to me. And I went over to Asia and just started eating it. Now, fortunately, in Asia, you can overeat and not put on too much weight. But I definitely put on weight. When I decided, I actually said, I had this conversation with Adrian. I said, this is killing me. I go, I'm going to just keep gaining weight, and I can't stop myself. I go, I got my invitation to Pro Worlds. I got to go to Pro Worlds. And the minute I signed up for Pro Worlds, I'm like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. And I was back in the gym. And
Wow.
I realized for me, I need something to motivate me.
Bingo.
But all those things that should have motivated me to do it,
Yeah.
living longer, having more years of life, and
Mhm.
feeling better. You think that'd be enough motivation? No, it wasn't. So I made this video where I said I had to figure out what motivated me. And I think I will always need an important Frisbee tournament coming up.
That's awesome.
Now, when it comes to motivation, do you feel that people, that was a little bit of a longer intro to the question, but do you feel that people, that it's important that they figure out their motivation and that it not be what they're told should be plenty of reason?
Well, let's just go from your experience. Absolutely. I mean, like you had all the justifications why you should quote unquote be healthy, but none of it changed anything. You got trapped in like this kind of program or matrix where you probably had a habit built up and it felt good. And so you were doing what felt good. But then you found something that was bigger than just feeling good. It was it was a target that I need to become this version of myself, and it's bigger than staying comfortable. Now I have to do the uncomfortable. So when something showed up that you usually like, I always eat this, or this is my normal habit, you modified that habit, and the resistance level was different. It was easier. It was almost too easy because you had something bigger than your current habitual self. And that's what I mean. It's like when we create an alter ego, it's like that superhero version of us, but it's not like Thor, where you can cast lightning and all this stuff. It's about creating something that's realistic, that's just a bit better than where you are now. It's not like, hey, I want to become a billionaire. Well, dude, you grew up in a white trash family. Let's just kind of gradually move the needle, but you still are stretching yourself to a whole different level. Like valedictorian. Okay, I was a BC student. How do you get all A's and become smarter? I don't know. But that vision and that standard was in me. And I wasn't going to do anything to compromise that. I was going to give everything I could, even if I couldn't do it. And same thing with you, even if it's a smaller goal. I want to lose the 20 pounds. Like you had something that was bigger than the version of you that was making you stay comfortable. And so that's what the alter ego program is all about. And it's exactly what you did. And it's like, what would, call, you want to name it too, I think. You want to have an idea. You want to dress the part. If it's usually lazy and you don't like to like take care of yourself a certain way, well, how would that version of me take care of myself? How would that person me eat? How would that version of me show up to my partner? How would that version of me show up to my friends? How would it show up to my goals, to my standards? It changes everything.
So, yeah. And by the way, talking about your friends now, something else that I've learned for me for motivation, I create a self-imposed accountability. Because like I said, I can't get past what people think of me.
Okay.
What I do is I go public with what I'm going to do. And then I'm like, darn it, now I have to do it.
Put the pressure on.
I do put the pressure on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure. I started off the 2020, when 2021 to get ready for the 2022 Pro Tour. I started it off day one by taking my shirt off, standing in front of a scale with the saddest look on my face ever. And that's what, but I basically said, here's what I'm going to do. And then I went, damn it, now I have to do it. That is, do you, like, what's your thoughts on that? Like creating accountability, like even if you have to make it up.
Accountability is obviously important. You need a brotherhood of people who are inspiring to grow. If you're around people who are just coasters, again, life is hard, man. It's hard. It can be hard. And sometimes just coasting, just getting out of bed is a win. We've been through a lot. And so like you have to meet yourself where you're at. Okay. I'm not saying everyone needs to be an overachiever, but I'm saying there's so much justification to grow, to get better, to evolve. Because we're calmer, we're more resilient, and we feel good again. But when it comes to accountability, you have to have people who are keeping you accountable. But also, like sometimes, I think when it comes to like our goals, and we make them public, we shoot for the stars. And then if we don't get there, we ruin ourselves. We flatten ourselves. We set ourselves up for failure. When people try to lose weight, Scott, they try to modify too much too soon. It sounds like it's a good plan on surface.
No,
hey, I need to go to the gym 3 to 4 or 5 days a week. I need to start eating completely different.
Oh yeah, get out the scale, start weighing things, and then counting calories, and then
right.
Yeah.
And so that motivation and discipline to that target, it keeps us alive for a little bit. But then what happens? We get back into our habitual program.
right, because it sucks doing that.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's too much too soon. And so when we're tackling goals, we have to realize that think long term. Think long term. Like, it's the bare minimum. There's a level of comfort and uncomfort. All we want to do is we just want to go past that uncomfort line, and you'll create a new normal. And those micro actions, those micro steps lead to a completely different version of you 6 months, 12 months down the road. And then not only that, it's sustainable at that point.
Mhm.
It's not this great quantum leap that you're trying to make. You've transformed yourself through that process where that's actually who you are now.
Mhm.
And that's the best way, I think, to stay accountable to yourself is taking a longer roadmap. Give yourself more space to win. Like, set your wins up as smaller goals. Don't try to shift so much too soon. Now you looks like you work under pressure. Hey, I'm going to do this. Look at me. And then you do it. That's great. But not everyone has the balls to do that or the discipline to do it.
Well, no, it's because I don't have the discipline to do it. It's the exact opposite. So I personally, and this might sound strange, I think lifting weights is the most horrific. I've never once been excited to go to the gym. I despise every second I'm there. I do. I walk out, what I get out of it when I go is I walk out of the gym. I get about 20 minutes of feeling very proud of myself. That's a good feeling. I feel like, wow, because when I go to the gym, I don't mess around. I'm not on my phone. I hit it so hard because I'm like, I want to get done. But I hate every second of it. And, but I like when people are like, how'd you do that? Or they think they're proud of me or they whatever. And then I get the results. This is where you may push back on this. Conventional wisdom says, oh, you're going to find something you enjoy and find something that you love. And I'm like, why? Why does everything have to be something we like? Why can't there be like 4 hours every week? I'm going to do something I don't love and it's going to suck, but I accept the suck because of what I get out of it.
You look at me and you probably think I really do enjoy working out. And
well, sure looks like it.
there is something that I love putting on a podcast or like a motivational something or something I want to learn. I don't listen to crunk music. I'm actually learning education when I work out. I get in alignment with myself. Like when you go through my protocols, like when you get to the mastery version, you're aligning your energy system while you're working out too. It's almost like a workout meditation. You have walking meditation, running meditation, sitting meditation. Like it's recalibrating yourself to the standard that you want to be. And because I'm so focused on something, I'm really alive in there. And so it becomes this kind of like temple for me, if you will. But the act of actually wanting to work out is terrible. Maybe 5 out of 10 times I really want to go. Maybe. The other 5 out of 10 times, Scott, I don't want to do it. I don't want to focus. I don't want to zen in. No.
Thought it was just me.
No, bro. Like.
Well, no. Hey, in my defense, most people, like if you look at any like go look at fitness influencers. They act like that's like better than sex.
Yeah, I've heard the Arnold, phrase, like,
Yeah, and so that's the narrative I've heard, which I don't agree. So you disagree with that too.
No, like,
or at least not for everybody.
I think, man, when we're stretching ourselves, like, there's always resistance. There's always discomfort. Like, but that's the paradox. I want to read this. Like, I think it really aligns with this. This athletic coach and athlete are talking, and this coach says, I need to ask you something. The athlete asks, Coach, I need to ask you something. Is it really so bad if I have a drink with my friends? Sometimes it feels like everyone else is having fun except me. Coach says, you can have a drink if you choose. No one will stop you. And the athlete goes, and what about smoking? Just every now and then, just to feel free for a moment. The coach says, you can do that too. This is your life, not mine. The athlete goes, Coach, sometimes I just want to be like everyone else. Go to parties, stay out all night, laugh, and not worry about tomorrow. Can I do that? Coach says, absolutely. No one can take those moments away from you. The world is full of options. The athlete says, and if I want to go even farther, just maybe escape and get high, live wild, forget all the pressures for a night, can I? And the coach says, yes, all of that is within your reach. You can choose any path you want. And the athlete goes, then why does it feel like I can't have both? Why do I feel this ache in my chest like something has to give? And the coach says, because deep down you know the truth. You can have anything, but you can't have everything. Every great dream demands something from you. You are free to enjoy every moment, every temptation, every thrill, but you are not free from the cost. You cannot expect to show up on race day with the body, the mind, and spirit of a champion if you're not willing to sacrifice what others are not. Every late night, every shortcut, every easy decision chips away at your potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I mean. It's like we can do what makes us feel good. We can scroll endlessly because it's just easy. We can watch movies, and we
I
can
would never
eat
be on my
pizza.
phone all day.
We can eat pizza and just you can eat pizza if you want. But my point is you're just doing what feels good in the moment. But if you want to build something in yourself and in your life, you got to let go of the easy things, and you got to do the hard things. Like if I want to build a whole online campus for people to evolve and transform their lives, dude, there's so much stuff I don't want to do that I have to do. I have to shoot these modules. I have to show up. And the old me just wants to, dude, that's so grandiose. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I'm moving the needle, the fact that I'm doing this, just like when I'm building these courses, I'm reminding people like this right here is new for me. It's not easy. So I have to stress myself and show up every day. And I'm resisting. The old Cody doesn't want to show up and do that. But the new me, it's like, dude, you have to do this because you want to become this person that helps not just a couple people, but many people.
So when I went out on the pro tour in my early 50s, the next oldest player on the tour was like 42. And I went out there. One of the things that I promised myself, and I don't think I ever spoke these words to everybody, but I spoke it with my actions, which was I would not disrespect the athletes on tour by just showing up there as regular me going, well, I used to be good and I'm going to make some content and maybe have a good tournament. I felt that would be the most freaking insulting thing to our sport, to the professional athletes in our sport. So I say, if I go out there, if I give it, if I know that I've given everything I could, training and my body and everything was there, then I won't offend anybody and everybody will respect me regardless of how I finished. Because I couldn't have done any more to be there. And it turned out with all that hard work and effort, I was mediocre. I was middle of the pack, which I'm not. Well, I know. Look, I'm in my 50s. I'm not ashamed to be. I cashed at 50% of my pro tour events in 3 years in my 50s. I'm very proud of that. But I was the definition of your average player. But I worked so damn hard to become an average player that nobody thought I didn't deserve to be there.
Not at all. I was out there, Scott, a lot on the bag for a lot of the pro guys, and they talk. And there's a lot of people that talked about you in a very positive way. I think you left an impression on a lot of people.
I'm so happy to hear that.
No one, I don't think, thought you were out of your league.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think there was quite a bit at the beginning.
Yes.
Is this a publicity stunt? And I know I did. I told Adriana, I'm going to show up there in better shape than they know. Okay, we'll leave Ezra out of this.
You looked great.
Yeah, I said I'm going to be in better shape than anybody else, and everybody's going to know I worked harder than them, regardless. And again, I think that they respected me for that because they knew that I wasn't taking it as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you got some good finishes.
I'm very proud of it. I had a great 3 years. I only wanted to try to do one, and they kept giving me a tour card because I played well enough. And I'm like, oh, well, then I'm not going to stop. Not an idiot. If someone's connected to the words you're saying, like, I don't want them to not have access to what you do. This was not a sales pitch for what you're doing, but please.
Well, I'm on YouTube at Get Mind Jacked, but the website is mindjack.io. Okay. But yeah, IO is a new tech domain. It's not .com anymore. It's IO if you want to be culturally cool right now. So mindjack.io. So when you join, you'll have there's 60 other men that are on there right now. We launched June 14th this Saturday. I'm launching 3 courses, a mindset course.
Oh, that's neat. So it's recent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. A mindset course,
awesome.
a fitness course, and the eat whatever you want diet, because I'm going to show you how much you can get away with murder and still get great results. And so there's a 7-day free trial. If people want to try it out, burn through the courses. If you don't get any value, cancel before the trial ends. And if you want to join up, you can and plug in and get accountability from 60 other men.
There's no reason not to sign up then. Because if it's, I'm not trying to be a salesperson, but if you can sign up for 7 days and check it out, there's no reason not to check it out.
Yep. I'm not a guru. I'm not perfect. I'm learning like everybody else. I'm growing a little bit like everyone else. But maybe I'm a few steps ahead in some areas, right? Maybe with the fitness side, or whatever. But again, our hardware, the brain, is the same one that every king or genius has ever been on the planet. That's what you need to see in yourself, is it's always been an algorithm. I don't know where confidence comes from, but it's an algorithm that's kind of built and orchestrated about how this world is and how you are part of it and how it affects you. You either feel really good about yourself and what's possible, or you feel really disadvantaged or small and I can't speak with authority and speak, I can't be authentic. I can't be big. I can't be bold. What will people think? That's living your life based upon other people's opinions. And so you just need to create that confidence within yourself that it doesn't matter if you come from small town Sedan, Kansas. You can star in your own movie. Yeah, I was homeless. I went through a lot of bullshit to get there. But again, that's the stuff. That's the transformational journey. And that's what I'm trying to do for people, is to show them man, sometimes we need a firm hand like Coach Davis to kick us out of our weakness.
So I will take this chance to vouch for you, because you talked about first impressions earlier.
Yeah.
When I first met you, and I saw you, not met you. I hadn't saw you. Adriana, from off camera, I want you to shout yes or no. Did I or did I not use the word douchebag the very first sentence when I saw Cody? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. And because I thought, I'm sorry, I'm human. Okay. Oh yeah, because nobody else here has ever seen someone and judged them before meeting them. Come on, because you're you're this gym rat,
Where was this at?
It was in Norman, Oklahoma.
Okay.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You were sitting at a table, and then I sat down to talk to you, and then I was like, oh, he played Thor in the movie. I'm like, oh, well, cool. Then I can shoot some content, and then I'm thinking business. And then I talked to you for a little bit, but we went out to lunch that day, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a really, well, first off, really sweet guy. So you can be masculine and sweet. So they're not in conflict. They're really sweet, very soft-spoken guy. Then I was like, oh my God, he's really intelligent. And I was like, oh my God, I really like this guy. So I don't think you're a douchebag anymore. I'd be happy to know. Is that okay to say?
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
There's my mind jack transformation in my opinions. No, but hey, that's what I thought. And then I said, oh my God, nothing could be further from the truth. So
Thank you, brother.
I'm a full believer in what you say, and so I'd encourage people to log on for the week and give it a chance and see if there's something there for you. If it's a coaching style that works for you, cool. If it's not, it's not. No big deal.
Beautiful.
Anything else you want to leave the audience with?
Brother, I just appreciate you giving me an opportunity to speak from my heart and hopefully just find that 50-year-old version of me that may just feel he's done, but something hit him. He has that comeback story that's churning inside, or that 21-year-old version of me that didn't have any freaking faith in himself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to be that Coach Davis for people and just show what people have in themselves that they can't quite see just yet. And I think that's what I'm born to do. I have goals, absolutely, but that's my mission right now, bro, is to just build and deck people out, bro.
Just help people. All right, and now I'm going to ask you on camera here, so I'm going to get your word. So if I have a couple, believe it or not, movie projects in the works. Will you be my body double?
Body double.
Like my body spun. Well, because that way, if they just show you, they'll just because will you be that way? They'll be like, oh my god, that's
Yeah, just let me give you your hat and your shirt, and I'll do your backside.
everything. Okay, I just want to make sure it's okay because we're pretty much a spitting image of one another.
Absolutely.
Actually, my joke is like I'm 55 years old. I probably work as hard as you do to get this.
Touche,
This God's honest
touche,
truth.
brother.
But hey, really appreciate it,
Dude, thank
and
you.
I look forward to continuing the friendship and the best of luck. I hope this thing turns out great for you. I know you really do care, so that
Yep.
I think if you really care, I think that it gives you a leg up. I know you're not just out to make a buck. I know that. I know enough about you to know that.
$1,000,000,000.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, you guys. I don't go away yet. ScottStokely.net/Discord. Twice every month we talk about
You're
mental
on
health.
Discord.
Oh yeah,
Tech, bro.
mental health. I date younger women. That is the key when you get the key when you get older to keeping up with modern
Bro,
technology. Just keep dating younger.
Discord's great.
Yeah, so I got twice every month. If you get on there, we talk about mental health, physical health, recovery. The Discord doesn't cost anything. We just get together and it's an open forum. I'm not an expert. I just lead the forum and everybody gets together and we talk. A lot of it's disc golf related. I mean, your mental health is related to disc golf and getting your steps in and all those things. But we've also gone completely off topic and talked about other things without disc golf at all. If it just stays on topic with basically being happier and being better. So you're invited to stop by. In fact, I'm going to say it right now. Every once in a while, Thor might stop by. And again, not the one with the black shirt who cries a lot, the actual real Thor.
I'm joining up, bro. I'll be on there.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.